Can someone leave their job to do government contracting full time?
Yeah, people leave their job to do government contracting full time all of the time. Some are already starting out as established government contractors, so they're not necessarily leaving a job, but they could be leaving a business line or a certain type of customers where they were focused, more on the commercial space that their business was in, and they could be emphasizing more into the federal space. So that's one transition that we could see. But there's also, of course, new prime government contractors that get their cage coats and start every day. And within a year or two, they leave their 9 to 5 or whatever it is that they were kind of balancing and juggling while they were doing this to do government contracting as a full-time business. So absolutely, it happens every day, every week, every month.
How do you go from winning a few contracts to winning larger contracts?
So if you win a few contracts and you want to win larger contracts, you're going to have to change what you're doing. You have to change your operations. And that honestly is one of the things that keeps, government contractors stuck, is because once they start gaining some success, they don't want to stop doing the things that got them there. But the things that got you there very often can be the things that keep you stuck. So of course, you're going to have to start going after larger opportunities. You may have to expand into service areas where there are larger opportunities than maybe some of the service areas that you're focusing on right now. If you have been somebody who's focused on supplies and you want supplies contracts, I highly recommend that you transition over to services. You guys hear me kind of harp on this a lot, but if you haven't heard it, that's something that's also part of the answer to this question. But a lot of it is just going to be about you removing the obstacles that are blocking you from going after the larger contracts. So is the obstacle the larger proposal? Right? Is it insurance? Is it bonding? Is it operations? Is it proposal writing? Like, what is it that's holding you back? Those are the areas that I would focus on to start out by identifying even what those are. And then after those are removed, you're going to find more larger opportunities for you to go after. If you try to just force yourself to go after them and those things are still in place and they haven't been addressed yet, they're going to continue to kind of fight against you and you're not going to go very far with it.
What's the biggest correlator from someone who's not winning enough and someone who is?
So the biggest correlator is I feel like you guys hate hearing me say it at this point, but it's number of contracts bid on. It is the single biggest correlator. The more contracts you bid on, the more contracts you win. And it's not necessarily as black and white as that, because if you're submitting garbage, you won't win any. Okay, so there's certainly a big grain of salt, a big caveat with constant improvement, feedback, debriefs, just your own learning, developing the different skill sets required in government contracting. But if you are doing that, then the correlator becomes much more black and white. Okay, as you're improving, the more opportunities you bid on, the more that you're going to win. So if you didn't know that, or if you're putting all of your energy and resources and focus to dedicating a couple months to go after one opportunity, I think that is a huge mistake. If you are a newer government contractor, let me just say, someone who is not full-time at this, you shouldn't be doing that. And there's going to be lots of people, like the LinkedIn folks love, right? They love this. It's all about doing the research, right? It's all about, getting into the requirement early on. Okay, this is something that it's a more advanced contract move. It is a much longer lead cycle. Okay, so the advice for who it's for and the timing for it matters. And when someone's giving you advice, or you're going through LinkedIn, or you're going through Reddit, or whatever, you're listening to advice, to questions that are very important to you, but the advice that's being given or that you're applying to yourself is not taking into account and regard for the size of your business and where you are at. Okay, if you're not full-time at this and you do not have the bandwidth to do longer lead cycles for an opportunity that's going to be coming out 9 months from now, so you're going to start working it early, okay, no, that's not what you should be doing. You should be focusing on bids that are due over the next 30 days. You should be playing the numbers game, improving as you go, and start getting real contracts under your belt. That's how you need to get started. And that advice is exactly the same for those of you who have won a few contracts. You're still a beginner. You are still not safe from that. You still have to stick to the fundamentals.
What do you mean when you say 10, 20, you're in the money?
So 10 to 20, you're in the money. Okay, this introduces the concept of win conditions and win ratios. Okay, primarily a win ratio. The advice is if you go after 10 to 20 contracts, you're going to win one or a few, typically as a newer government contractor, right? Someone who's a prime, someone who doesn't have a existing commercial-based business, but you got your cage code and you're trying to do this in your bidding, right? Go after 10 to 20. That shifts the expectation majorly for many of you because many of you think within 3 months and bidding on 5 contracts, you should be winning your first contract. And if not, you're going to throw in the towel. Shift that to 12 months of focus of 10 to 20 bids, preferably service contracts in my opinion, and you will have one or a few contracts as long as you continue to hit those numbers and don't do it all in 1 month and don't do it all in 1 quarter, because I had somebody do this recently. Derek, I did 20 bids in a quarter. It didn't work. Your numbers are wrong. No, they're not wrong. You're wrong. And why are you wrong? Because over 1 quarter, over 3 months, that was not enough time for you to learn and make improvements. So you just made the same mistake 20 times. The idea of doing it over a year is you're going to make different and better mistakes that are going to leave room for you to win more contracts over time. You're not going to keep making the simple, the obvious, or nuanced mistakes per industry or whatever that's going to get you early on. But if you cram it all at the beginning, you don't want to go that fast at the beginning. Why would you put the gas pedal down to the floor on something that you have no idea what you're doing? You guys take it out of context. It's not just blindly about bidding. Okay, you have to be informed and you have to improve. So you should do it consistently throughout the year. You can't like lose all of your weight in a month, right? You can't win all of your contracts in a month. Nothing works that way.
If you can tell a contractor just one thing to grow, what would it be?
If you just had one thing to grow, I would say, is to double down on what works. Too many federal contractors come into the space making assumptions. You need to actually listen to what's happening. Okay, don't listen to me. Don't listen to the next GovCon guru on YouTube or LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok, right? Or the weekly newsletter you get. Only thing that should matter to you is the feedback that you're actually getting in the marketplace. And if you're doing something and you're not getting a certain result that you want or that you would expect, well, that's telling you something. Okay, you have to remain a scientist here. That's telling you that something you're doing is not lining up to produce the result that you're expecting. Okay, doesn't mean anything's like incorrect or wrong. It just means you're doing A and you're getting B. Okay, well, that means you need to change A. So those who grow fastest, those who win the big contracts, those who quit their jobs, like whatever the big juicy, piece of fruit is at the end of this that you want, are the people, not those who get lucky, right? Because it's not long-term enough and big enough. Maybe they win one early, and sometimes that's a curse. It's not that. The big piece of fruit goes to those people who listen. They pay attention, and not to what other people say, but to what life is telling them, to what their activities are telling them, to what the federal government contracting industry is giving them in terms of feedback. And then when you find the thing that works, you double down on it. So that means you have to quickly try different things. Give it enough time and then move on. Give it enough time and then move on. Give it enough time. Oh, it's working. Stay there. And then stay there and milk it for as long as you can until you want to go to, essentially that next level. So I would say double down on what works.
If you can help a contractor who feels like they are stuck, what would you tell them?
Right. So if you're stuck, that will eventually get you stuck, because anything would only ever take you so far. One thing's never going to take you all the way. So the advice is, what got you here is not going to be the same thing that gets you there. Okay? So when you double down on what works, what happens is it works. It works until it doesn't. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this Q&A, is that's very often what gets people hitting a plateau, right? Getting you stuck is because you're kind of afraid to let go of what worked. So I know some of you guys and gals, you've been doing this for 18 months and maybe you won some contracts last year, but this year isn't so great. Okay, well, you don't get to just figure out what works, in quotes, and double down for a bit and then just autopilot. You have to remain a student of the game. That's how business is. You don't ever get to just take your eye off of the prize. Maybe you can take a little break, right? You can coast a little bit, you can enjoy, you can manage, you can fill, you can get paid, you can get invoice. All good. You can sharpen the saw, build the team, but then at the end of the day, you got to start looking for that next, what's going to be that next area? What's going to be the next, services? What's going to be the next thing that's going to take your business for the next year, the next couple of years, or up to the next level? You cannot sleep on that. Okay, so some of you who are not beginners, you're sleeping, and that's why you're plateauing, and that's why you're stucking, and then you're stuck, and you're getting frustrated because you're like, well, this worked before. Why isn't it working now? Right? It's like lifting weights to build muscle. Okay, you get those newbie gains, then after a while, those newbie gains don't come around so easily, and then you're like, man, like I used to love working out. I used to, it used to be so great, and then I didn't get the same result anymore because you didn't take it to the next level. You were still playing by, an original recipe, whatever you want to call it. So at some point, what got you to where you're at, you have to realize isn't going to be the thing that gets you to where you want to go. And the good thing is that keeps us sharp, it keeps us in the hunt, and it keeps us growing. So guys, none of this is useful, helpful, or applicable to you if you do not know how to write competitive and compliant proposals. Okay, and that's why I created GovRFP, which I believe is the best federal proposal writing system in the world. And of course, I'm super biased as I'm saying that because I'm the creator and I made it. But I drove myself crazy making it to make it simple, stupid, so anybody could go on sam.gov, download a solicitation, and just take it step by step. And in a few hours, okay, not a few months, a few weeks, or even a few days, but in a few hours, you could actually have a solicitation that you are impressed by and you are excited to send to a contracting officer because it's compliant, competitive, it looks really good. And the good news is it's not just the actual proposal section, it's also pricing. So whether you are brand new to proposal writing or you're someone who's been in the game, as I said, for a year or two, and you've got your templates down, you think you got your stack down, GovRFP can take you to the next level. So kind of as my thank you for staying to the end of the video, I have unlocked the first 3 modules to get you really deep into the training, completely free, no credit card, just put in your email address. You can get that at GovKidMethod.com. Just click on GovRFP and select unlock free modules, and then you can get into that literally right the second if you wanted to, if you're in a place to be able to take advantage of that. Now, if you got something out of the video today, let me know down below in the comments what that was. Smash the like button for the algorithm, and if you are new here, welcome to the channel. We are one of the fastest growing federal contracting YouTube channels in the space and have been for some time. I would love to have you be part of our community, and most importantly, you don't want to miss out on future trainings, Q&As like this, where I tell you like it is. I tell you the real GovCon. I don't just tell you fluff or what you want to hear to get views. I tell you what actually matters in your business to actually grow it and make actual money, win real contracts, right? So until next time, guys, that's all I got for you. Again, go to GovKidMethod.com, check out GovRFP. I hope to see you there, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.